A very interesting topic for all of you today. Since as mentioned by our MC here, Nadia, we are all from young professionals from across ASEAN, and today we're going to talk about something very interesting and very inspiring, I guess, to all of you as well. So the topic will be youth voices in energy transition, and how are you as young professionals currently contributing and projecting the future of energy transition. So today, without further ado, let me welcome my panel, fellow beautiful and handsome speaker today. First up, let's have Mirza over to my side here over here. Then we can have Amira. And then we can have Shania here. All right, so boys and girls, guys and gals, if you are interested and to know more about young professionals in ASEAN, please do join us here at the at this stage over here. Thank you. Okay, so I think I've mentioned their names, but I guess we need to have a formal introduction or perhaps a bit of a introduction of sorts to my speakers here. So I think we start off with the guy next to me. I guess your name and where you're from, and also what's your role in ASEAN or currently.
Hello. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Amirul Mirza bin Anuar. So I'm from Malaysia. Currently at Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. So I'm in Industrial Development Division, where our purview is development of industry in Malaysia.
Thank you, Mirza. And next to Mirza.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. My name is Amira Bilqis. I'm from Youth for Energy Southeast Asia. Currently, I'm taking the role of Managing Director, and at the same time, I'm also serving as advisor to the Director General of IRENA, or International Renewable Energy Agency. So basically, my role is that I'm doing a lot of advocacies in the rural region, but at the same time, I'm also advising it to the highest level of assembly at IRENA. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Amira. So, and last but not least, next Amira.
Hi, Faisal. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Shania from the ASEAN Center for Energy. I come from the fossil fuel, hydrocarbon and minerals department. So very contentious, contentious department, but we're actually working on how we are acknowledging that we're still using fossil fuels in the region, but trying to help member states to use it responsibly. And my work entails right now doing all the methane emission projects at ACE.
I think that's a good thing because we are not here to wash, we are here to actually educate or maybe share some of our perspective. Okay, so I think I'll start with the first question to Amira. As young professionals in ASEAN, how do you see your generation or maybe our generation shaping the region's path towards a just and inclusive energy transition?
That's actually a tough question because I think what we need to understand first is that I think me and Shania is in the same generation, Gen Z, and then some of us probably are Gen Alphas. We are living in a world where information and climate change awareness has been really skyrocketed in the last few years. And I think that's also kind of like influenced how do our young people perceive energy sectors. I think I would like to share to you that there is a certain study that actually conducted by ASEAN Secretariat back in 2020. And then at the time, they are actually calculating, basically doing survey on what is the sectors that is most interested by young people. And then unfortunately, energy sectors is actually not even make it into the top 10. Although our region is actually very resourceful when it comes to energy resource such as, of course, coal, oil, gas, as well as the one that is like more cleaner, like geothermals, hydropowers, and so forth. So I think our era and young people really wanted to kind of like, raise their voices when it comes to wanting to be part of the energies now, in order for us to actually understand better on how energy transitions could actually influence our life in the next couple of decades.
All right. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm interested to know about that. The data that you mentioned earlier just now. Okay, so I think the next question will be to the gentleman here, Mirza. The energy transition often focuses on technology and policy. Where do you think youth voices fit in this equation?
Okay, thank you, Faisal, for the question. So I think where the youth fit in the current energy ecosystem right now is to address the grassroots behavior of our youth. So as mentioned by Amira just now, the youth is more open to enter the energy sector compared to the generation before them. So they have the willingness to change their own behavior and influence their peers around them. Especially, we can take the opportunity maybe to have a session in school or something in a co-curriculum activity that involve the practical or more interesting ways to attract them to be proactive in the energy sector. And besides that, I also want to inform about the energy literacy. So I think our youth right now is has more sources than us. So they are born in the 5G era. So they have internet and in their own fingers. So they can easily Google maybe the current natural disaster, what are the causes and how to prevent it. So they are more open to have or to increase their energy literacy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, as mentioned, information is already readily available now. I guess you all don't know what does dial up means. I know what dial up means. It's been quite some time dial up is there. And also, I think right now people don't go to Google, they go chat GPT actually. Yeah, I see the faces of people like, yeah, I did my homework with chat GPT. It's okay, it's okay. We use technology for our own benefit. All right, so let's go to our speaker at the end. Shania, what unique ASEAN challenges or opportunities do you see in advancing the energy transition compared to other regions?
Well, for starters, ASEAN is a region with very, very rapid economic and population growth. I think we're projected to be the fourth largest economy just in 5 years' time. But fueling this growth, you need very significant amount of energy demand. Um, our projection also shows that by 2050, our energy demand will almost triple from this to 2022 levels, so potentially reaching 1,108 MTOE. And I think the IEA also states that with today's policy scenarios, we're on track to in 2035 to account for 25% of the global energy demand. So that's a quarter of what the energy in the world consumes. So now the problem is 80% of this energy mix is still coming from fossil fuels under the BAU scenario. And our projection also shows that even with the most aggressive renewable energy and energy intensity reduction targets, fossil fuels will still dominate at around 50 to 60%. So that's the challenges is there, but the potential to transition is, I would say, ASEAN region bigger than other regions because of this as well. Um, and but progress is underway for ASEAN. I think tomorrow or today we're going to finally release the ASEAN renewable energy long-term roadmap, which will be endorsed and adopted by the ASEAN energy ministers. So that's long overdue, but that roadmap will, chart pathways on how ASEAN could amplify its renewable energy. And then we also have the ASEAN Power Grid, which is gaining momentum now more than ever, that enables cross-border renewable energy trade. But still, that progress is not at a quick enough pace to match the rising fossil fuels demand. Yeah.
All right, interesting. So all of you here, adik-adik, I would say the brothers and sisters here, you all are part of this equation as well. So take note, okay? And tomorrow as well on the renewable energy roadmap.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think I would like to congratulate the team as well for doing a very good job on that as well. So thank you so much. Come on, give a round of applause, okay? Okay, so I think I'll go to Mirza. How can young professionals accelerate innovation in areas like carbon capture, hydrogen, and power systems to meet ASEAN's net zero ambitions?
Okay, thank you, Faisal, for the question. So I think this question have more jargon than the previous one. So maybe not all of us know what is carbon capture, what is hydrogen, and what is power systems. So I think just mentioned by my friends over there, we are currently actively pursuing the ASEAN Power Grid. So I believe this project will involve uh, all of ASEAN, especially the youth, because we need your technical expertise, your new ideas to prevent this project to become, I mean, in Malay we call project Gajah Putih, so abandoned project. So we need new ideas, better than the previous similar projects, whatnot. So and then for the carbon capture, I think this is one of the popular phrase right now, including in Malaysia itself. So when we heard the budget announcement, I think 2 years back, we have informed the public that government is interested in pursuing the carbon capture, utilization, and storage project or initiative. So I think this will also be an opportunity for new ideas from the youth, how to make it better than other region. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mirza. So next question is to Shania. What are the key enablers or barriers you face in contributing to decarbonization effort in your organization or country?
Maybe a bit brief background on the organization that I'm representing. I come from the ASEAN Center for Energy, so the host of the AEBF. Anyone familiar with what ACE is? No, yeah. So ACE is an intergovernmental organization. We are mandated by the 10 ASEAN energy ministers to assist them in planning and implement their regional energy cooperation activities. And we do this through what we call the ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation, or APAC document for short. So all of the ASEAN energy cooperation activities, including the ASEAN Power Grid, must follow the APAC document. So it's like our Bible, where we have to follow all of the activities deriving from the APAC. The biggest challenge, I guess, for ASEAN is, I would say, the diversity of the 10 ASEAN member states, not only in terms of the diversity in their resources, but also in the sense of their readiness and political willingness to decarbonize in the region. But I would also say that it's also an enabler because of this diversityness. And before I jump into that, did you know that not all of the 10 ASEAN member states have net zero emission goals? So currently, not all ASEAN member states have set their net zero emission goals. I think that exemplifies the diversity of willingness and readiness to decarbonize. But again, as I said, it's also an opportunity because we see that the countries who are more equipped to decarbonize can act as a linchpin and trigger other ASEAN member states who may not be ready yet and guide them to transition together. For example, in ASEAN, we launched the ASEAN CCS deployment framework and roadmap last year, and this year we released the ASEAN Methane Management Roadmap. But this was only made possible, the development and the adoption of this was only made possible because of a certain few member states who strongly advocated for these roadmaps, these decarbonization roadmaps to be published and adopted. But in turn, all of the ASEAN member states benefited from this because now they have a roadmap, even though they did not strongly advocate it for that at the first place. So yeah, I would say it's both a challenge and enabler, this diversity of the 10 ASEAN member states. But for the youth out there, it's also an enabler for you because ASEAN is a very wide region with 10 ASEAN member states. So your opportunity of jobs on energy transition jobs is perhaps not only confined to Malaysia but also to other ASEAN member states as well. I think Amira and I did a paper last year led by Amira where we projected that 1.3 million jobs, RE jobs that generated because of RE will be expected in ASEAN. Yeah. Am I right? I mean, 1.3 million.
Yes, true.
1.3 million jobs. There's a lot of jobs there, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe you can see what are the jobs available after this on the renewable energy space. Thank you, Shania. And last, now we have to Amira. How can ASEAN foster stronger collaboration between industry, government, and youth innovators to fast-track low-carbon technologies?
I think what I want to ask first, maybe to all the participants here, who is familiar with renewable energy? Okay. Who is, the question is, who is know about renewable energy? Okay, I see some hands here, over here. Okay. And then the second question, who wants to work in renewable energy? Okay. Who wants to work in the fossil fuel?
Oh no.
I think this is something that actually, illustrate that the young people actually willingly support and become part of the solutions of energy transitions accelerations. Because right now, I think what government think like, oh yeah, everything, the technologies, we need to think about the technologies, we need to think about the financial things as well. But sometimes forget that the people is actually also part of that transition, meaning that our young people needs to be upskill and reskill for them to be relevant to the jobs that they wanted to do that actually better for our world, right? But then unfortunately, a lot of universities, a lot of training are actually very much still left behind when it comes to the technologies that is actually trying to be implemented by a country. So for example, I think most of you are Malaysian, you know an ETR, the National Energy Transition Roadmap, right? Those actually already listed down some of the technologies, but do you think right now with your major, for example, your undergraduate or your school actually teaches you that? So I think right now what we can do for collaborations is that private sectors and government needs to also leverage the untapped opportunity by engaging the young people because they are actually the one that gonna work and implement those works as well in the energy transition.
All right, there, here you go. I think I'm surprised. Well, because I'm from Petronas, so I'm a bit surprised as well. But yes, you joined this energy transition journey, I guess. All right, so I think the next question is to Mirza. In your experience, what's the most practical way to balance energy security, affordability, and sustainability, the energy trilemma in the region?
Okay, thank you, Faizal, for the question. So, I think some of the points have been pointed by Amira before this. From my experience in policy development, uh, uh, during the current era of energy transition, we can say right now, the most important thing is the first one is prioritizing which one we need to tackle first. So, in order to prioritizing things, we need to have a complete data. We need to have need to test it with the different scenarios to know or to see what's the effects, what how effective the action plan is. And the second point is, as mentioned by Amira, we need to leveraging what we have right now, because the question mentioned about affordability. So instead of doing new things, we need to look back at our current policy. What are the status of that action plan, and how can we make it better or improve it? So we don't have to develop it and entirely new plans just to tackle the same issue that we are currently facing. And the third one is implementation and monitoring. So I think this is one of the current issue in any policy, I think in the region, including Malaysia. So we have a beautiful document of policy. So how can we implement it in order to make the target that we have set can be achieved? Because if we can see right now we have an ETR, and if in MITI we have a new industrial master plan 2030. So how can we make sure that the implementation and monitoring is berkesan, is something like that lah. So I think three of the points that I pointed is very important to tackle the energy trilemma. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mirza. So, next question is to Shania. Beyond technology, how can storytelling, empathy, and social innovation drive behavioral change for sustainability in ASEAN communities?
I think the answer to that is pretty simple in the sense that you need these storytellings and dialogues, social empathy, uh, in order for you to deploy the technologies. Because the technologies can be there, but without somebody advocating for the technologies to be deployed, then it will not be deployed. For example, is for methane emissions because I work on methane emissions. Um, when when a sea level, for example, tries to convince the board to do methane emission management in their oil and gas operation, and story tells it as a climate case, then their board will go 50-50 and say, maybe later. But if you story tell it in the sense that it's a business case for them, because there is capturing that methane emission, you can resell it as a volume of gas, and then you present that as a business case to the board, then the board will most likely say yes, because there's added value to them and it's cost efficient for them. Despite the fact that methane emissions is a already a very low hanging fruit when we talk about trying to decarbonize the oil and gas sector because the technology is mature and the cost is relatively very cheap. But it's that different of storytelling points that will be the goal, the deal breaker for them. So that's one of the example of the importance of having a good storytelling in order for you to get the technology going, I feel.
Okay, thank you, Shania. Okay, so this is question is to Amira. What role do you think youth-led movements or networks such as YesNet, Y4E SEA, or other ASEAN-based initiatives play in influencing social impact at scale?
I think what we need to understand first is that young people actually very much a firm believer on something that they are passionate about. And I think that's also a strength on its own, meaning that um, some of them, I've already traveled a couple of times to several ASEAN member states, and I've seen so many young people are actually doing a grassroots initiative, meaning that they are actually invent something, innovate something to the energy transition, and at the same time doing advocacies. They are actually communicating things to the communities. They even actually built a solar panel sometimes for a community that doesn't have electricity, meaning that it's something that probably wasn't actually a priority for the government or private sector because it's a business oriented, right? For young people, having more beneficials support for a lots of people is something that we, I think, very much believe in. That is why I think right now there are a couple of initiatives such as ours, Y4EC, and then also a YesNet, like Faisal, is really trying to bring out and leverage those people that are actually doing good things already and empower them, supporting them, and then try to bring them to be in front of the people that are actually having the power to make things happen. Because we don't have the financial abilities because we are still sometimes student. I myself a student, and then a lot of other peoples are doing it just like, you know, during their free time, but they are actually doing it in a very impactful way. So empowering them, supporting them is something that they are actually looking forward to. And especially they actually believe this one word, which I think probably at the moment are not very familiar in the case of ASEAN energy sector, which is intergenerational equity. Because the decisions that are actually made today is the one that are going to be experience it. Either there is an action or wrong choices that are made now. It's us. When you are actually working in the sphere already, when you are like, 10, 20 years older, because energy transitions does not happen in an instant. It happens through generations, meaning that probably it's not your generation, but even your grandchildren even. So I think telling them that we are actually need to have an intergenerational collaborations is very important.
Thank you, Amira. And the next question is to Mirza. In your view, how can companies and governments empower young professionals to integrate sustainability into everyday decisions, not just corporate strategy?
Okay, thank you, Faisal, for the question. So I think this question really echoed what we do in MITI. So companies and government, because right now in MITI, companies are our stakeholder. So we will have a regular meeting or sometimes a biannual meeting with big association such as the foreign chambers and also the industry association that we have in Malaysia. So usually they will come with their own ideas, their own initiative. They will present it to the government, and they usually will ask for our support, not necessarily on about the money or incentive, but maybe just policy support to allow them to expand or to improve their ideas or initiative. Right now, especially in MITI, we have the hard to abate sector, such as iron and steel, cement, and petrochem. So these three sectors are actually working very hard to help Malaysia to achieve our own emission goal. And then we at the government, MITI, are working closely with Petra and NRES to support them in any way that they need support. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mirza. So next question is to Shania. How can ASEAN's diverse cultures and values be harnessed to promote conservation and social resilience and meet the energy transition?
I think it's similar to my answer earlier about harnessing that diversity itself. I mean, the countries who are more equipped to decarbonize, they should also help those who are left behind, so that, because that's also an aspect of the just energy inclusive transition, so that the core is essentially to not leave anyone behind. And I feel that is the key role of ACE, to help bridge this gap, to ensure that every ASEAN member states could transition in a way that not only ensures sustainability, but also to have a secure supply of energy.
Thank you, Amira. Sorry, Shania. So next up, we're gonna go to Amira. What does future-ready leadership mean to you in the context of ASEAN's energy transition?
I think right now the young people would agree. Do you think you would actually support somebody that are actually having a foresight? Meaning that they are actually understand what is going to actually happen and change it. No? No what? Some? Okay. So the others, you think like it's better to have leaders that are just understand the current realities. Is it? Or do you want to change things? I think in my understanding and in my experience as well, future ready leadership should have three things. The first one, they need to understand the current social realities. Because right now we understand electricity is so expensive. A lot of access to electricity is still limited to some areas. I believe that if you go to rural areas, they were still waiting for the blackout every day that is scheduled and so forth, right? So understand that, because if you want to actually change into sustainabilities, but then you are actually forgetting that we are actually having the duty to have and provide energy to even to the most rural areas, I think it would diminish what future-ready leadership supposed to have in terms of its traits. The second is that this person needs, or this government or entities needs to have an idea on how to bridge the divide. Because I would say right now, the stigma of energy sectors is very much male dominated and only filled with engineer. And then also, the discussions that, oh yeah, it's very much an adult issue. I think it's no longer something that we can actually stand for, because their decision, you are the one who are going to feel the most consequences. And last but not least is like that this person needs to have a foresight in the coming years, meaning that not even coming years, coming decade. Okay, what should we do? Because as I said, energy transitions is not only 10 years. So this person and institution or government needs to have that three traits that I think very much entail. And then, although sometimes like it's something that is probably hard to be identified in our own current government, I think we can start with our own. That is why I think Youth for Energy Southeast Asia, our organizations, is trying to nurture leaders in energy sectors to have these traits as well, from our capacity building workshop and so forth.
Thank you, Amira. So next up is Mirza. If you could change one thing today to enable more meaningful youth participation in shaping policy or strategy, what would it be?
Thank you, Faizal, for the question. It's a very tricky question because we need to address many things actually. But I think what we can change is the development of human capital, because just as Shania mentioned and Amira mentioned right just now, there will be estimated of 1.3 millions of new RE jobs. How can the ASEAN region we can be ready for that new opportunities? I think the development of human capital is usually being sidetracked in the policy development. So I think this is the time to change that. As I mentioned before, we need to prioritize things. So I think maybe we can start to prioritize workforce development that involve our youth in the university and school right now, to have them ready for that future jobs with the support of government in terms of syllabus and the related support from our Ministry of Education and so on. Okay, thank you, Faisal.
Thank you, Mirza. So next question will be to Shania. How do you envision the next decade of ASEAN's youth involvement in achieving net zero and social progress?
How do I envision? For starters, I would like to see youth participation and representation in policy and decision making not something that is just symbolic, but can also be perhaps institutionalized or have yeah or have set indicators. And what I mean by this is, for example, there's already a growing progress for gender inclusion. For example, in conferences like this, there might be set indicators where the panelists must have at least one female. I think that should also be applied to youth representation, where there's a set indicator that there needs to be one youth panelist in conferences or in policy making situations. And in projects, for example, proposal making or projects, there's now increasing indicators that there needs to be one section on gender gaps, for instance. The same could be applied to youth, where there's one dedicated section that projects must have a youth analysis on that. So I'd like to see that we move away from just having youth as something symbolic and needs to be there, but also now more institutionalized in ASEAN.
Thank you. I think this is a very good point, actually. I think this is something that we need to look into, I think, for now. Okay, so this is the last question, but I guess this is for everyone here. So the question is, finally, if you could summarize your journey in one sentence, how are you personally contributing to the future of energy transition? So I'll start with Amira.
I think so. Just probably one word: dedication. Because working for youth advocacies and empowerment, it takes a lot of time. And I mean, sometimes I work as well. I'm studying as well. So it's something that is just I do in the side. But having that dedication and a really dream team that's supporting me when it comes to deploying a lot of like support to the young people, I think that's very much something that I think describes my journey.
Thank you, Amira. What about you, Mirza?
I think in one sentence that can describe my, I mean my mantra is it? So I think let's start now because I think the time is very limited. As we can see right now, the natural disaster, we have earthquake that never happened in an area before. So I think let's start now is the best way forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mirza. And last but not least, Shania over there.
I think pushing more accountability to the current leaders to do more on energy transition and hopefully to do this strategically through the APAC document.
All right, thank you, Shania. So that comes to the end of our session. So thank you so much, everyone, once again for being here today. We will also have another session this Friday with one of our speakers from YesNet. So I think from now, thank you so much from all of us and enjoy your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to
Thank you.
Faisal, Mirza, Amira, and Shania. Thank you. I think we had a very good audience from the students just now. We had one from a school and also from a university, Uni of KL. So I think, I'm not sure which faculty they were from, but I'm sure they seem to be very inquisitive. They were very into the conversation. That was good. Thank you very much, our panel. Thank you.